Hello. You may have seen me pop on just a second ago and jump off again because I hit live before I rotated it, and so I would have been sideways. I suppose I could do a portrait uh, live, but I like landscape better. So yeah, and then I saw just now that three of you posted in the group, so I'm going to be pulling that up so that I can look at that in a moment. But yeah, it's interesting juggling life and being in tune with ourselves, and um, yeah, I'm not sure all the things that contribute to how I feel sometimes. Um, I was sharing that yesterday I felt like maybe it was depression, maybe just low energy, maybe my thyroid needs to be checked, maybe I need to get my testosterone checked. But 3 days in a row of feeling kind of wiped out. I covered a shift at the lodge on Sunday, so did that all day, and remember feeling by the last appointment, I was just dragging, and there wasn't anything like super negative or overwhelming or anything, but there was like there's definitely something exhausting to me and my personality and my complex PTSD experiences, where the corporate environment just feels so rigid and non-life-giving. So yeah, I thankfully am not. I don't have a regular schedule there right now, and I used to be able to work 4 days in a row, and then I would have to take a day off and just completely rest because I was working some really long days, 10 to 12 hour days on um, 3 of those days, usually 3 of the 4, and then now I go in for one day, and it seems like activate all of those feelings, those experiences for me. So so that's interesting. But it may be why felt exhausted on Monday and then Tuesday, and I didn't take enough time possibly to rest after the workday on Sunday. Um, so yeah, sometimes it does feel frustrating to have to take more rest than other people, but it's so valuable. And looks like Judy is on, so thanks for joining us, Judy. Um, so I do want to get to your comments, but I promised some updated information. Some of this I was going to share a couple of weeks ago, and then had to cancel due to my car situation. That's so crazy because that was a Tuesday night. So Tuesday afternoon, I posted in the group saying these are the things I'm going to cover tomorrow. And then that night, went to play pickleball up at a camp in the mountains, and then driving back with my friends in the car, and it was snowing up at the higher altitude, and really narrow roads, and inch of fresh snow, and it came down this hill, down around the corner, going slow, and then just started sliding and slid right over the edge. And thankfully there were some small trees there that stopped us. Otherwise we could have gone way further down the hill and down the mountain, basically. And thankfully we're all safe. Still waiting for the car to come back from the shop. I'll find out tomorrow whether I can get it Friday or not. But but yeah, so a lot happened between Tuesday afternoon and Tuesday evening, and then kept me from being able to talk with you guys that week on Wednesday. So yeah, so what I had been researching was on sunlight, and I was actually listening to some experts in an interview. And if anyone has interest, I can share the interview that I listened to. But the value of sunlight for your body, and how full spectrum sunlight, especially at different times of the day, gives your body different signals through your eyes. And so your eyes tell your body what hormones to release at certain times based on the light that's coming through them. So like first thing in the morning, when you see the sun, if that's around sunrise or soon after, then that signals to the body to turn off melatonin, turn on cortisol. There's a cortisol spike in the morning, and that's natural, normal, to help you get moving, give you some energy for starting your day. And then the UVA light, which is later in the morning, that prompts your body to release serotonin, dopamine, tryptophan, tyrosine, and pregnenolone. I'll have to get better at pronouncing that. But that's basically the master sex hormone for energy and creativity and all of that. So so that late morning sunlight gives your body a different signal. But there's different things that get in the way of that, including the glass in the windows restrict parts of that light spectrum. So your body doesn't get all the signals accurately. It kind of becomes a jumbled message to your hormones. So so just checking. Oh, and then the phone and electronics, the TV, the phone, they are giving a signal that's similar to the noonday sun, and which is, hey Danielle, good to see you. Glad you could make it. So the light from electronics is giving you kind of a midday version of the sun, even though it's mostly the blue version of the light and not the red and purple, apparently. And so that, if you look at that, especially during the night or first thing in the morning, then it kind of throws off your hormone signals. So I actually just ordered these blue light blocking glasses that I wear sometimes if I'm working on my laptop or watching pickleball on the flat screen. So so the blue light blocking glasses helps kind of balance out that color spectrum again. And then the phone, you can turn the color tint over to the orange red end, which it doesn't always look great, but it's better for your eyes, especially at night. And you can, some of the phones, my phone has a setting where it automatically does that at a certain time at night, and then goes back to normal color spectrum in the morning. Even though I've been leaving it on that all the time, I do have that option. So so all of that can be better for the signal that your body is getting from the light and help regulate your hormones. So the lady that was in the interview, Sarah Kleiner, She was being interviewed by Irene Lyon, Lyon, and she was talking about how she was experiencing fatigue, and even after making all these health changes in her life and feeling a lot better, she was starting to feel like, oh, feel like I'm in my 40s now, like actually feeling her age, and connecting with the sun and getting outside first thing in the morning and grounding, feet on the ground and stuff like that, all helped her turn her energy issues around. So that if that sounds like that may be an issue for you and something that could be helpful, then I encourage you to do more research on that. Look that up. Dr. Cruz, I can't remember his first name, but he is kind of leading this research into the quantum physics of light and circadian biology. So that is what all of this is related to. So quantum physics of light affects circadian biology in the body. And one thing that I thought was really crazy was that they said was if you have windows in a certain part of your house, or any part of your house, and you open one a little bit so that you can see the true color of the light, the quantum properties of light mean that if light is able to get in, then the whole window, even looking through the glass, is the correct light spectrum, just because you opened one part of one of the windows, which is crazy to me. I didn't realize the quantum property of light behaved like that, but apparently it does. So that is quite amazing. Same thing in the car, and I'll talk a little bit more about this, but having the windows cracked can be so good for you, for your health, driving in the car. So speaking of cars, I decided I was going to research, or at least look up, whether electric cars really were better than gasoline cars. And I've been thinking for a while that electric was better. And I found this very in-depth scientific, almost more than I needed to know, article on it. And turns out electric cars may be slightly better, but there's still some EMF, ELF, and RF radiation that can come from any kind of car that you drive. So whether it's electric or gasoline, they're all going to have RF radiation, radio frequency radiation. So wireless, Bluetooth, Wi-Fi capabilities, all those things are in pretty much all newer cars now. All cars have EMF, the electromagnetic field radiation. Even just tires on the ground create electromagnetic charge. Tires going around, hitting the pavement over and over and over again. And then electric cars have a higher percentage of ELF, extremely low frequency radiation, which is usually from batteries and internal circuitry. So, but the main thing that I learned from this article was that regardless of what car you drive, and regardless of what's happening because of the mechanics of the car, just having your cell phone connected to the mobile network inside of your car and your windows rolled up creates this, what do they call it, conductive cage, similar to a Faraday cage that scientists use for experimentation, that it keeps radiation out, but it also keeps radiation in. And so if your cell phone is on, it's connecting to a new tower about every mile in city spaces. And so that reaching out to connect to the network and to new towers and stuff is putting out a lot of signal. And so with the windows rolled up, that just keeps building and building and building inside of the conductive cage that is your car. So two things you can do to reduce that and reduce the potential harm from that is first, have a window cracked. And apparently it doesn't matter how far, just any amount will help reduce that buildup. And then if you know where you're going and you don't need your phone, then you can put your phone on airplane mode. And that cuts out most of the radiation that your phone is producing. It can still be on, and the radiation is going to be very minimal. So, those were a couple of things that I was surprised to learn, and I've been practicing that, having windows open in my house a lot more religiously. I was doing that anyway up until the really cold months, but now I'm just going to be really particular about that year round as much as possible, having the windows open, and then rolling the windows down a little bit when I'm driving, and then putting it on airplane mode. I listen to Audible. I have Pandora with some downloaded music, and YouTube allows me to download some videos, so I can listen to some of those things in my car with the phone on airplane mode. So I've been trying that. They also recommend, if you've got the 1/8-inch cable to connect to your sound system, that's better than using Bluetooth. So many little things, and some of it may be more than you want to deal with right now. And I saw a meme that I shared on my personal page that says, you're not meant to be in therapy for the rest of your life. You're meant to live life and enjoy life and all that stuff. And so there is a balance between getting too bogged down in the weeds about all the things that could be harmful and just living your life. So a balance that I appreciate from some people is that if you're experiencing challenges in your health, then experiment. Keep researching, try different things, see what's going to help. If you're not, then live life. Don't worry about it too much. There's a doctor that I follow who is really into a modified carnivore diet, and I appreciate a lot of what he has to say. And one of the things that he says was, if you don't have any issues with your health, don't listen to anything I'm saying. But if you're having issues with in your health, then I would recommend you try this as an experiment and see how that goes. And he's got a specific routine that he recommends. So I feel like that's kind of a good balance. So the meme that I shared yesterday was, I don't want you to push yourself out of your comfort zone. I want you to feel compelled and seduced out of your comfort zone by the truth of your bigness and the thrill of the expanded possibilities that are available on the other side. And I think it's so valuable to allow yourself to be drawn out of your comfort zone through urge. My spiritual mentor, Amanda Flaker, talks a lot about urge. And what are you urging for? What do you desire? What is drawing you? What is seducing you? And let your joy and excitement and curiosity and creativity kind of pull you forward. And I know that not every season of life is full of that kind of experience and that kind of attitude, that kind of hopefulness. But eventually the goal is to get to that place. And so I also want to talk about the challenging things. I mentioned yesterday that in general my I've had low energy, and I just explained a little bit ago that, it might have been from my shift at the lodge on Sunday, and then not giving myself the space and the time to appropriately recover from that. So that's a possibility. But I also contacted a friend who does nutrition response testing. And nutrition response testing is the method that helped me heal my thyroid and adrenals. And after working with that original practitioner for 10 years, I haven't felt comfortable working with her, just because she has very kind of formed some very specific ideologies about nutrition and lifestyle, and she's trying to push those without trusting my intuition about my body. So I haven't felt comfortable working with her in a little while. So I'm looking for another practitioner. And so I just contacted someone else this morning, and we have an appointment set for Monday. So that's kind of how I've been throughout my health journey, is focusing on what are my dreams and goals, what do I want, what do I desire to experience, and then keep doing all the things that will get me to that experience, and then stick with that. And then if I'm not experiencing the health that I want after giving it a good chance, then I think, okay, time to reevaluate, time to do some more research, time to do some introspection, time to do some reflection. What is not lined up, and what do I need to do to get more in line and move towards my desire. So I want to get to your comments. Thank you guys for participating in that. Just saw that a few minutes ago, so I'm going to read through these. So Judy says, as always, this sounds like such a relevant topic. I have been troubleshooting myself with the same things. I often wake multiple times a night, and many nights don't feel like I ever get into a deep sleep. So almost never wake up feeling rested. My motivation is low because I'm so exhausted. I too have wondered if I'm somewhat depressed, and am trying to fine-tune all the things in order to turn things around. I think my situation has a lot to do with ongoing stress and ambiguous grief. After 37 years of living in hidden emotional abuse, I finally got out and have been divorced for over a year. Some of my 6 adult children have been holding me at arm's length. My oldest son and his wife have 3 daughters ages 10, 12, and 16, whom I've hardly seen this past year and a half since I moved back to this area. My heart is broken as they are growing up so fast. When I'm together with my children, who are all wonderful people in their own right, there is an elephant in the room and little to no freedom for me to discuss real issues. I feel muzzled and stuck in my grief. I also know that I should not be letting outside circumstances control my well-being, but haven't yet figured out how to move forward without grief gnawing at my heart. I'm okay at times, but it's often in the quiet of the night when the pain of distanced relationships, of those most important to me, surfaces, keeping me awake. Man, that is really, really tough, and so relatable and so well articulated. Thank you for your vulnerability in sharing that, Judy. So, it completely makes sense that there'd be this massive amount of grief and grieving the loss of everything that was yours to a certain extent, I feel like it's definitely just kind of a brutal mixed bag because you kept quiet and you tolerated your experience in the 37 years of marriage. And because you tolerated that, you were able to have this family and have all of these experiences and your grandchildren and all of that. And so kind of it feels like everyone else would be feeling like they don't know if they can believe you because you seemed fine all those years when you were actually tolerating something that you should not have tolerated. And now because you were the one to take action to improve your life that wasn't healthy for you, now you are seen as the one that's caused some issues. And that is brutal. And as you mentioned, I know that I should not be letting outside circumstances control my well-being, but there is, I feel like, a difference between, like, I don't think that you are, like, the fact that you were in an abusive situation for 37 years is proof that you don't let outside circumstances control your well-being. Like you thrived despite what you were experiencing. And now your body is learning to process basically the complex PTSD from all of that, as well as grieving the loss of the relationships that you seemed to have closeness in. And I say seemed to have closeness in because up until a year ago or so, they really didn't have access to you and all of your truth. And I know that now they still don't have access to all of your truth because you're not able to have a fully transparent conversation about it, which I do hope that you are able to have sometime, and that you are able to share in whatever way that you feel like you're able to share your side of the story, your perspective. I don't know if you are, how much you share on Facebook or social media, but if there is a way to even vaguely share a meme that you resonate with, or something that kind of relays your heart experience to people, there may be a lot of different ways that you can get closer to that opportunity of being vulnerable and sharing who you are. And so I do feel like there is grief and loneliness embedded in your experiences right now. And that really challenges sleep. I feel like I've been experiencing a little bit of that the last couple of weeks because my sleep has been terrible. And like I'm able to be asleep most of the time, but lots of waking up. I used to like take hours to go back to sleep, and thankfully it's not been quite like that, but I don't feel like I'm like actually sleeping. My dreams are really wild and vivid, and I just don't feel like I'm getting good rest. So I'm heartbroken for you at your lack of communion and fellowship and intimacy with your kids and your grandkids, especially your granddaughters that you now live so close to. So yeah, hoping that there is an opportunity to open up communication. And sometimes I think that maybe people feel the pressure. They like, it's not you, but they are assuming that you're going to want them to take a side, even if like you don't need anyone to take a side. You just want to connect, and but they may be holding back because they don't know who the good guy, who the bad guy is, and they don't want to be pressured into taking a side. So maybe there's ways to share, because like a marriage can end and people can still love each other and still not want to continue. You can love aspects of someone, and not all the time, for sure. And if it was extremely abusive, maybe there isn't love, but you can still, like for example, my little brother has a very unique and different relationship with my dad than I had. He's almost 27 years younger than me. And so the dad that he's grown up with is very different from the dad that I've grown up with. And even though he can still have some tough experiences with our dad, he also has some really good experiences. And so he will want to share sometimes with me some of the things that they do together. And I can't relate to that, and if I think about it too long, I can get really depressed. But I don't try to convince my little brother to feel the same way about my dad that I do, based on my experience. So I know you know what I'm talking about, what I'm trying to say, and so maybe there's ways to communicate where you're at in that. So thank you for sharing, Judy. If you find some things that are helpful, we'd love to hear about that. So as you have positive experiences moving forward or need more support, please post and share or comment here, so that we can celebrate or encourage you. And then Danielle says to Judy, I feel you. Those closest to us can't help us grieve. I'm sorry it's all bottled up in the pain. Yep. So then Danielle says, I have not the urge to do anything positive. I have a mountain of grief coming out now that Chuck has been gone 3 weeks. I don't miss him or our fake marriage, but I'm grieving my life, my time, and all of my heart and soul that I gave, but can never have back. It took my youth. My throat feels tight all the time in the desperate fight to keep it all in. I have so much. I'm keeping it all in as a necessity for my kids who need me to be strong and regulated. I urge to explode. That's super, super challenging, especially in these first few weeks after getting away. And I'm so grateful that so far it seems that you're able to have minimal contact with Chuck, and your nervous system is able most of the time to regulate a little bit more, but that also gives you that space to feel all the grief and all the loss and everything. And I know what that's like. I think everyone, most everyone in this group is very empathic, and so we have aspects of ourselves in our lives that we gave away for years and years and years. And we did it. We can't get it back. And we thought we were doing the right thing, and we were trying to do a good thing, and it just is gone. And there's so much grief in that. So I have been thinking about age, losing, not having my childhood, not having a normal amount of energy until 27, having so many complex PTSD issues that I didn't start to realize until my late 30s and now early 40s. And just, the grief of the pain and the loss of time and the loss of experiences, and wishing that I didn't have to deal with trauma. Over the years, like when I was 17 and had fatigue issues, it was like, I'm young, like I'm supposed to be in my youth, why am I dragging? But something feels different about being 41 and having emotional flashbacks and panic attacks and trauma responses, because like I should be old enough now to not be dealing with this, not be having these experiences. Maybe, maybe that's because I experienced a lot of that really young as well. And so then I think, well, when I'm older, it'll be better. And then it's not necessarily. But I've been having to do a lot of it's not disassociation, but disassociating from the mindsets, the associations that I have with the number 41 or being in my 40s. What do I think that means? I feel like I'm too old to be having emotional flashbacks, panic attacks, to be, having to have patience with myself and have self-compassion and all the things. And I don't know why that number is such a thing, but I'm actively reassociating what it means to be in my 40s. Like, it's just being alive, and it doesn't have to mean anything specific. I plan on being youthful and focused on health and vitality for as long as I live, and I'm never too old to learn and grow and heal and recover and expand. So that's what I'm doing. I'm choosing not to think that my prime is gone, because I'm away from the abuse. I know more about health and fitness and my health and fitness than I've ever known. And I feel like I can only get better. People in their 70s and 80s have the most beneficial response to strength training, which most of the symptoms of aging are actually symptoms of frailty. So I'm thinking, like, trying to think of all the different ways that I can remember that life isn't over just because I'm at a certain age. And most people only live this long. I'm gonna change that. I'm gonna experience something really amazing and positive in the future that I have. Believing that the best is yet to come. And I know, back to Danielle's comment, that ignoring the current is not is not a good recipe for a better life. But knowing that something better is coming, that the best is not gone, can be encouraging while dealing with the grief and the loss of time and energy and investment and all the things that are currently gone. And having to keep it all together for your kids, that's next level. That is monumental. You are such a hero, and it's so important to remind yourself of that when things are feeling so intense and so overwhelming. Like, you have always taken on much, much more than you should have had to throughout the entire marriage and child rearing. You've always had more on your plate than you should have had. So good job, stay strong. Reach out to me and the group as needed. And thank you for that. Yeah, I'll keep you guys posted on my processing and experimenting as well. So Menavit or Menavjit, I would love to know how to properly pronounce your name. She says, yes, I can relate to the grief in that part of the process. I remember feeling upset at the thought of lost time and what felt like wasted energy. Of course, nothing is really wasted. And yeah, from that big picture perspective, kind of from a cosmic perspective, from a God perspective, we can see that there are purposes to everything, and that there's going to be like really beneficial things that come out. For example, for most of my fitness career, I had healed enough that I looked like a jock when I was working at all my fitness jobs. And people, especially women, would kind of really be hesitant to work with me as a trainer until I got a chance to tell them a little bit about my story and what I had experienced with my health. And all of a sudden, they were telling me everything about their experiences, and they felt safe with me. They felt seen, they felt understood, they felt valued. And that was something that I realized over and over and over again, that wow, I am really grateful for all my health challenges and the abuse that I experienced, because in this moment now, this person across from me trusts me because of the credentials of what I experienced in the past. And when you're going through it, it's no fun. And it can feel really annoying when someone reminds you that there is a purpose for, there is benefit to what you're experiencing. But there is, and not that you have to feel it right now, not that you have to be grateful for anything right now. It's okay to be in the moment and to be in the pain and the grief and the loss, and to love yourself, to hold yourself, to comfort yourself. And I just hope that you can take the time that you need. So thank you, Menavjit, for your encouragement and letting us know that you can relate. So I hope that you're encouraged a little bit, at least with the camaraderie of people who also know what it's like to be there in those brutal moments. Judy says, so true, Kyler. You're a gift to many because of your journey, as difficult as it has been. Thank you. I'm grateful for that, and I'm grateful because of moments like this where we can talk together and you all feel safe being vulnerable with me and sharing with me, because you know that it will be honored and treasured in that pain. So yeah, it's that's what I'm grateful for. So yeah, actually that's what my therapist was telling me, Danielle, thank you, that I've earned a PhD in healing from trauma. So yeah, thank you. And thank you for sharing, and thank you for being vulnerable, and thank you for your journey together in this. So anyone that's watching this, if you haven't shared, please be encouraged that it is safe for you to be vulnerable. People are here because they've experienced these challenges, and we're working together on getting through all of them, nurturing our bodies, nurturing our health, recovering, becoming strong, moving toward dreams that have seemed to have been broken, and living a better life. So hope you have a good week. If there's anything that you need encouragement in, don't hesitate to reach out. Love you guys. Talk to you soon.